this camera is for sale on eBay for just £5. So if I took some pictures on this and put them next to some pictures taken on a DSLR, you'd be able to tell the difference, right? Of course you would. Wouldn't you? This is a Samsung ST66, a point and press camera from 2012. If I shoot some pictures on this and also shoot the same picture on a Nikon D3s, will you be able to tell the difference? So get yourself a pen and paper ready, because you're about to see 12 images, and the identical picture has been taken once on the Samsung ST66 and once on the Nikon D3s. See if you can identify which is the Samsung and which is the Nikon on all 12 pictures. And so here we go. Here's a picture of a garden and image A. Is this the Samsung or is it the Nikon? Let's have a look at the other image. It's image B, and I think it's pretty obvious on the first one. The Nikon is going to have a lot more clarity. There was some fringing to one of these images, so I think it's pretty obvious that the good camera is going to be image B. That's the Nikon. So an easy one to start with. Let's go to another, and this time it's a close-up of a leaf, and a nice bit of sharpness on the leaf there. And this second picture, now is picture B the expensive or the cheap camera? Let's see them side by side. Oh, this one is a little bit more difficult, and I have chosen images specifically to try to fool you. The one on the left has got a shallow depth of field, but it is actually pin sharp on the leaf. That's the Nikon. The Samsung is just not able to give you that kind of a shallow depth of field. So let's go black and white. This is image A. Lots of water in a canal pouring through. You can see lots of sharpness and detail in the foam. The second picture got a little bit less detail because there's some movement in the water and a little bit more contrasty. So we'll put them side by side. And to me, it's obvious that the Nikon is image A. You can see the extra detail in the foam, a lot more greys, a lot less contrast. An autumn scene now, and these are taken side by side. This is not a definitive test or a scientific test in any way. It's just a fun quiz. So looking at these again, I think one of these images has got a lot more detail and a lot more midtones. And it's the Nikon on the right. Back onto black and white now with a canal scene and an old barge. I have to say, it does surprise me how difficult some of these are. There's image B. There's not a lot to choose in black and white between these on wide shots. Let's put them side by side. You know, that's really difficult to choose between those two, in particular when you take into consideration how much difference in price there is. A massive difference in price, but the Nikon is on the left. If you can spot all 12 images, I think you are doing really well, because some of them are really tough. And onto a flower. Close-up of a flower. There's image A. Let's go on to image B. And there's image B. One of them just jumps out to me to be the Nikon straight away. Let's put them side by side. And let's remember that the Nikon is clearly a proper camera here. The Samsung is a point and press, which is why it can only deliver certain things. I'm trying to fool you with certain pictures, but it's the Nikon on the right. Of course it is, with that shallow depth of field. The Samsung just can't compete with that. But look at the great job it's done of recording the flower. So let's have an old style black and white with a grimy, mechanical, oily look. So that's A, and that's B. It's a tricky one, this. I put them side by side, and with black and white, I think it's a lot harder to tell. I have to admit, it could go either way. What do you think? Yeah, that's right. The Nikon is on the right. For me, that's the toughest one yet. But don't forget, there were no telephotos in here. There were no difficult lighting or low lighting. The Samsung just can't cope with those. No, the only place it can compete is in wide angle on a nice bright day. And that's what we've got here. Here's a building shot and building shot on B. One of them's got more clarity than the other. And let's put them side by side. I think this one's going to be relatively simple. But again, with the price difference, look at how the law of diminishing returns comes in. You are getting a better image on A, but the Samsung's doing a really good job of trying to keep up. I've had to dig deep to find images where the Samsung can really compete with the Nikon. I think black and white, that's probably the closest it's going to get. One of these images for me has got a lot more detail, a lot more contrast, a lot more sharpness and depth, and it's the Nikon on the left. But let's be honest, there's not a lot in it really, is there? I mean, these images are pretty close. And for the sake of being realistic, let's try something a little bit more difficult. A shot of the sun and with a little bit more telephoto end. And I think you'll see it's pretty obvious. No points for getting this one right. It is, of course, the Nikon on the left. The Samsung with a little bit of telephoto. It's done okay with the sunlight and the exposure, but it's struggled as soon as it comes off wide angle. Look, the detail is just not there. But of course, that's not what this camera was designed for. The Samsung is a point and press camera. It's designed to go in your bag, have fun, taking pictures of friends and family and capturing memories. Into the penultimate image, and we're back to black and white. We go for a close-up. Here's some batteries tied in a bag to a bin, and there it is again. And one of these images has got a lot of contrast, and one of them has dealt with the greys a lot better. Let's put them side by side. I think it's pretty obvious there when you see them side by side. The Nikon is on the right, it's image B. So it's obviously the close-ups and the telephotos that the Samsung is struggling with. So let's try and give you a difficult one to finish off. Let's go wide angle, let's go nice big landscape and lots of light. Let's go for a big autumn scene. Tree in a field in the autumn. So we've got image A and then image B. Now, there's a color temperature change, as you can see. Which one is which? Let's put them side by side. It is tricky, this one, isn't it? It is tricky, but if you blew them up, you'd see the difference. And that's because the detail in the Nikon is so much better. It's on the left. I wonder if that surprised you, how well that cheap Samsung point and press delivered on some of the images. So how did you get on? Did you spot all 12? This is a great bit of fun if you want to get into photography. At the wider end of the lens, it's not too bad at all. Forget zooming in. It just doesn't do a good enough job. I couldn't even show you one zoomed in picture that will get anywhere near the Nikon. It's a point and press camera. It's really slim. It fits into your pocket. You can take it out for a party night. It's great for taking pictures of yourself and your friends. That's really what it's for. Don't think this can compete with the Nikon in any way, shape or form. You could not take professional quality pictures on anything like this. You can go out and have a bit of fun and that's it. But when it comes to taking landscapes and having a bit of fun, as those pictures proved, it can punch well above its weight. If you're looking to get into photography and don't want to spend too much money, then I think you can pick one of these up really cheaply. It has virtually no manual controls. It's an auto camera. It can't compete with the Nikon at all. As soon as you start blowing the pictures up, you'd see the difference. But I have to say, the performance of this little fella out and about is pretty good.